watching the show and being on the show, one of the things that people ask about more than anything started with little cash. I don't have a lot of cash. How can I get started? And I know Tony's gone to some work to put together some tips for the people. How's it feel in that chair, Tony?
Feels different. It always, whenever I get in this chair, I don't have the desk to lean over. I don't have the power. We're going to be talking about negotiations tonight, and we're going to talk about some of those points of negotiations that, and why a person is going to put some people through some tests, as a matter of fact, on the phone. We're going to have them participate with us. But as you said, one of the most important things, and that's, I guess, quote, an expert in buying property with little or no money down, is the most and best question we get is, how do I really get started?
Now, you've done it in Kansas City, in St. Louis, in New York. You've done it in Los Angeles.
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. You've done it on television shows in less than 30 minutes' time. And I think it would help if you could capsulize some specific steps and points to remember, rules to follow, if you will, for some of the people out there.
Okay, why don't we start off with the 7 basic rules? I'm getting a no. That means a yes or a no? No. Means a no. What happened to it? Shortly. Well, we got 7 rules. We've got 7 rules for you, and we're trying to put them up on the font at the same time. But I can start talking about them, I guess. And if they don't have them,
these are 7 rules for buying property with no money down. Is that
getting
correct?
Started.
Yeah.
To get started in real
To get
estate.
started with no money down. All right.
Because there are a lot of people, Tony, who just don't have that first dollar to put down. They might be able to scrape together closing costs and the incidentals, but to come up with $5,000, $10,000, have to save for years, and by the, you know, the old saying is, I've waited so long for my ship to come in, my pier collapsed.
Yeah, or I was at the bus when it came in. Right?
Yeah,
exactly.
When the ship came in, I was at the bus depot. Right.
Yeah. What do you think about taking a couple of quick phone calls until they have the 7 rules right?
Okay, let's do that then.
Okay, let's go to the phones, and Betty in Fort Worth, Texas.
Betty, welcome to the show. What is your question for Tony tonight?
I want to say hello to both of you. I saw you in Honolulu.
Oh, you did?
Oh, great, Betty.
Oh, great. And you're from Houston, and you were over in Honolulu.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
I wanted to ask Tony about a question about whether he could give me some guidelines on whether to flip properties or keep properties.
Good question.
I'm sorry, what or what?
Whether she should flip properties or keep them.
Yes.
Both
How's
of the
that
above.
for an answer? Betty?
Yes.
The answer is yes, you should. Flip properties and keep properties. Now, let me go one step further to what I mean by that. When you first get started in business, if you have a job and you're making a decent income from this job, well then obviously you can afford to buy properties and you can keep them for the appreciation while you're fixing them up, and then you can sit on them, pay off the mortgages, and I've talked many times about paying them off in 10 or 15 years, and now you have free and clear properties which your tenants paid for, and you have your retirement program, and you've got yourself $1 million worth of retirement. However, if you do as so many people, your object is to get out of what you're doing for a living and get into what you enjoy doing, which is buying and selling properties, then you want to start flipping. Or, for those people that don't have a job right now and they have to survive, the answer is buy a property, fix it up, flip it, make the profit, buy another one, flip it, make the profit. Now you got money to live on. Now maybe you can buy 2, keep 1, and flip 1. Now maybe you can buy 2 more, keep 1, and flip 1. Till you the point where you got an income coming in so you can quit your job.
Well, I really appreciate that very much.
So each person, I mean, there's no right answer to it. You have to do what's right for your situation.
I'm still waiting for your basic course that I ordered in Honolulu.
Well, that is quite a mistake, I'm sure. Betty, will you do me a favor?
Yeah.
We're going to hang on. We're going to have you. We're going to take your name, and then we'll have someone from our customer service department call you tomorrow. So you hang on, and our director,
I've
our
already
producer.
called your office.
Okay, you hold on. We'll have our producer call. Take your number right now. Hold on.
Thank you.
She'll get immediate action on that, won't she?
Yeah,
She sure will.
You know, with all the thousands of orders that they process out there, once in a while one falls through the cracks. You can't help that.
No,
when
you
it
really
does
can't.
happen, we straighten it out just as quickly as possible, so we'll get on the line with her, give her some blue label service, and get that out to her immediately.
We sure will. Okay, they got the 7 steps ready.
All right,
They
let's
said
go
they
with
can put
rule
them up.
number 1.
Rule number 1. Determine the maximum monthly payments you can afford. Now, this is for a person getting started. You're living in an apartment. Stop and think about it. If you're paying $700 a month between you and your spouse for this apartment, certainly you could afford $700 in your monthly payment on the house you're going to buy. Matter of fact, you could probably afford more than that because you're going to get tax benefits. So you're going to get, you want to find out just how much in tax benefits you're going to get from your new house. So you figure out your depreciation, not your depreciation, your interest write-off, and that will show you how much more you're going to get back next April. You can actually walk into your employer. You can increase the number of dependents and exemptions you have, which will increase your monthly check to your weekly check to you, your payday, and from that you'll be able to pay more than the $700.
So a lot of people can afford more than they think,
actually,
just with the little technique and the
20 to 30% more than they're paying when they're renting a piece of property without taking one more penny out of their pocket.
Improve their lifestyle and have ownership instead of having
building equity, building appreciation, building everything they want and afford 30% more, 20 to 30% more than they're currently paying to rent a piece of property.
That's a great rule.
Rule number 2, select the home and price range carefully. Again, same thing. When you're out shopping, don't go looking at $500,000 houses if you know you're going to be in the $100,000 range. There's no sense drooling and then going home and saying, well, we can't have that, we're going to do nothing. Right? Pick the house that's going to cost. If you know you can afford $1,000 a month because you got the $700 plus the difference, then go look in the price range where $1,000 a month is going to buy you a property. Now, obviously, if you can find a seller who's going to give you all the deals, you can afford more than that, but certainly start. My ratio would be about 100 to 1. You can afford $1,000 a month, look in the $100,000 range. You can afford $600 a month, look in the $60,000 range, and buy properties in that range. No sense, again, as I said, drooling and then you can't do anything. Number 3, consider all types of housing. Don't limit yourself to the little white house with the picket fence. That's what your dream house may be. But why not start where you can? Why not start with a condo? Why not start with, maybe a duplex and you rent the other one out? Buy what you can to start with, build the equity, build up the ownership, build up the appreciation, and then start trading from one to the next. They've got a rule called the 1034 that you can sell the house you're in, and as long as you buy another one in 24 months, you don't pay anything on the profit. So you can keep moving up as long as you want. Then you get to be over 55 years old. Then you can sell it without paying taxes, all kinds of things you can do.
Well, that's another good point. The 1034 tax-deferred exchange, many people don't realize that they can pyramid with their personal residence.
Exactly. Number 4, only buy with seller financing, FHA, or VA. You want to buy properties that you know you can get out of. You get into one of these banks where they have due-on-sale clauses, try and sell that 3 years from now or 4 years from now. You want the golden touch. VAs, FHAs, those are fully assumable. So when interest rates go to 20 and you got this 11% FHA or 12% FHA, you're going to have a gold mine sitting here. Buy FHA, VA, or get the seller to finance. Stay away from conventional banks. Number 5, work with a knowledgeable real estate agent. Why not? They're going to earn a commission. Believe it or not, whether you deal with a buy owner or you deal with a realtor, you're going to pay a commission. Believe me, you will. So when you're first getting started, but now, you got to ask yourself some questions. Who's knowledgeable? How do I find a knowledgeable realtor? Maybe later on the show we'll be able to give you the exact questions you need to ask the realtor to which ones are good and which ones are bad. Number 6, call all FSBOs in your area. FSBOs, for sale by owner. Call all of them. Why not work both ends of the street? Work with your realtor, but also work with the for sale by owner. See where you can get the best deal. And number 7, be persistent. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to come quickly. You got to work at it. I didn't get where I am overnight. Hal didn't get where he got overnight. It took me a lot of time and a lot of effort. Remember this. You don't need money or credit in real estate. You need knowledge and you need guts. We're going to supply the knowledge to you. You got to have the guts and the persistence. That's rule number 7.
Tony, those are great rules. I appreciate your sharing that with people because that's something that helps give them some framework that they can use.
Good, and coming up on tonight's program, we're going to take as many telephone calls as possible, and we would like to have your phone call. I also have great news for you tonight. Tony's talking basics, and we're going to tell you something that's very basic now, and that's what we are offering you tonight. And that is together a special package for you just for this show.
First time we've ever done it.
First time this package has ever been offered in this form on the air, on this or any program, because so many of you write in and call in and say, how do I get started? Now, we're talking about buying real estate with no money down because a lot of us just simply don't have that down payment. Yet we long for financial independence. We want to get started. So Tony has done this for you. He has a package we're going to offer you tonight that is so comprehensive, especially for those of you brand new to real estate. And he's priced it in a price range that you can afford. Tony, I think this is magnificent.
Well, this is the whole thing. You got to keep in mind, what this is, it's negotiations. We're going to teach people 8 hours of negotiation. So not only when they negotiate, if they're a tenant, they got to learn to negotiate with the landlord. They got to negotiate with when they're buying a car. They got to negotiate with their kids, with their parents, with their spouses, with their bosses to get raised. So what we're doing is we're saying this is for the real novice, the person who wants to learn how to become a negotiator. We're talking about the person who wants to learn how to buy his first house, how to get started. I'm not talking about anything fancy. This is for the guy who says, hey, all those other courses, they sound good, but that's not for me. It's too tough. I've never bought one because I don't know where to start. I can't do that stuff. There isn't a person in the world that can't get started with this course that I packaged tonight.
So this is a strong general overview of real estate.
Exactly. The negotiation course is geared to real estate, but as you go through it and you get all the tests and you do the homework assignments in there, you'll learn that it's negotiations is the key to winning. It really is.
It'll even help you when you buy a car. As a matter of fact, if you had this negotiating package and you bought a car, you'd save more on that automobile deal than the package cost.
Obviously you would.
That is one package that you get. Package number 2 is the New Investor Seminar, where Tony talks with you about how to find an agent, how to negotiate, how to finance, how to buy property with no money down. All of those things are covered in here, including making a purchase without money or without credit. Tony shows you all of it in
how to
his
get your
New
last 3
Investor
years'
Seminar.
taxes back. So many people don't know that you can get back your 1982, your 1983, and your 1984 taxes. You can get it all back, everything you paid the government, and I explain that in the New Investor Seminar.
And one of my favorite courses Tony has is being put together with this, and that's Tony Hoffman's. You're only 2 hours away from your first offer. You know, making that first offer is the hardest thing in the world. If you've never done it before, let Tony take you by the hand, step by step. You even get 5 copies included of Tony's special contract with all the weasel clauses to protect you. That's included in this, plus Tony Hoffman's secret to no money down deals, equity sharing. Now, this is not big, comprehensive like Hal Morris's equity
Hal's
sharing.
the expert in equity sharing. There's no doubt. I mean, he is the master in it. This is a general overview. It's a 2-hour course so that people can understand the principles of equity sharing.
It's right here for you. You get that free. Plus, Tony Hoffman's 25 ways to generate positive cash flow. Now, you get all of this. Let me show you what you get.
10 of those ways actually put money in their pocket at closing.
Let me show you what you get for this. If you call an order right now with the Visa, MasterCard, or American Express, you get Tony Hoffman's negotiations package, 8 hours of tape and a workbook. You also get Tony Hoffman's new investment seminar, 8 more hours of tapes and a workbook. You also get the one I've told you about before, about you're only 2 hours away from your first offer, secret to equity sharing, and Tony's 25 ways to generate positive cash flow. All for, listen to this now, $179. That's all. And we're going to throw in Tony's tape on negotiating foreclosures and the other tape that's so popular with a lot of our viewers, and that is the dynamics of credit. All of that for $179. You can call right now, and incidentally, we're making a survey on this program, so if you're watching us on the Lifetime television network, on Lifetime, call 1-800-441-1234 and tell them you want Tony's negotiating package. It's only $179. If you're watching on any other station, call 1-800-772-7272. Incidentally, if you want our Blue Label service, add $12 and you can get it within 3 working days. Call right now, either 1-800-441-1234 or 1-800-772-7272. Tony, that is the best bargain we've ever offered on this program.
Well, we want people to get started, and you know, there's so many people that just say, real estate isn't for me. Hey, for $179, let me tell you, it's for them.
It's your program, and we're going to prove it right now as we go to Chicago, and Joyce is on the line.
Hello, Joyce. Welcome to the show. What is your question for Tony tonight?
Yes, Tony, I wanted to know about your weasel clause. How can I use that to protect myself? And I want to know, what does it say?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. The weasel clause protects anyone for 5 weeks. Now, if you'll bear with me in a little while, Joyce, I could give it to you out of context right now, but we're going to give a no money down example a little later in the show, and you have to use the weasel clause in that to make it work. So you're going to stay up with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay, how about if I put the weasel clause in when it makes sense to everybody rather than just taking it out of context right here?
Okay.
All right, I promise to cover it tonight, though.
Thanks for your call, Joyce.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
So John in Houston, Texas.
John, welcome to the show. What's your question for Tony?
Oh, no, the question is for you, though.
All right.
I saw your program yesterday, and I went to the IRS office today about the tax sales,
Yes.
and they tell me that it's a good, they go to auctions and all, but you buy the equity on the property. That's all you're buying, what the guy owns. And if for any reason the bank doesn't accept you in the loan, then they can foreclose on you.
Okay, John, the best properties to work on at the IRS sale are the ones that are free and clear. Now, you're in Houston, Texas, right?
Right.
Okay. Last time I was in Houston, I met with some of the people from the IRS office, and they were telling me they were having about one auction every day, one auction a day on average. So that means about 30 a month. And out of that 30, it's amazing the number of properties that are free and clear. So what the IRS told you is correct, and that is some of the properties are going to have loans. Now, the IRS usually doesn't have an auction on a property unless they have equity there. So, because they're not going to get their money back if nobody's interested in bidding on the property. So the bottom line is there is money to be made, but in Texas you'll make more money with tax auction properties where people have not paid their back real estate taxes than you will with the IRS sales, because you can earn 25% interest on your money while you wait there. But see, that's the kind of thing that gets people stopped. They'll go and talk to somebody at the IRS and say, no, there's some risks here and maybe you shouldn't do it, and right away they back off and say, I'm no longer going to be involved. What Tony told you a little while ago is true. It's not, you have to be persistent, because you're going to have to look at 30 deals to find the one good deal. Wouldn't you say, Tony?
Yeah, you can't go out and expect to find one right off the top. And when you're first starting up, it's going to take 15, 20, 30 properties before you find the right one. As you get better at it, as you learn to look, you might end up get down to 20, and then you'll know how to eliminate them on the phone, and you'll get down to 15 or down to 1 out of 10. When you first get started, you're going to be banging heads against the wall.
Yeah. So, John, you felt discouraged today after talking to them?
No. I just had that question in my mind. I wanted to know how to go around, because there was one property that had a lot of equity in it, but it still had a loan.
Well, but that doesn't mean you can't buy it. See, there's some steps that you need to go through. And Tony's the guest tonight, and I don't want to take a lot of time, but my recommendation to you, if you like that property, the first thing I recommend you do is talk to the current owners, all right? Because you can buy the property from them before the auction. You've also got 6 months to buy it from them after the auction, where you buy their redemption rights, and you'd buy it contingent upon your being able to work out a deal with the bank. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you just
Thank you very much.
Yeah, good luck to you. The current holder. What I would do on this property for a first offer is, and I wish I had my book here because I have a particular offer in my album that's designed for just this purpose. And what you do with it is you write an offer whereby it's contingent upon your renegotiating with the current lender, whereby that lender will waive the back payments and add them to the existing loan. See, most lenders don't want the property back. Most people are afraid to ask. Most people are afraid to go in and say, Mr. Lender, you want this property back? No, we really don't want it back. Well, I've got a proposal for you. So there are 3 or 4 different approaches you can take. That's one of them. Another one would be equity sharing, so that you equity share it. A young man not far from you is Malibu, California, and a young 17-year-old went into a bank, found a foreclosure bargain. He didn't have any cash, but he needed a financial statement, and so he was able to pick up $50,000 in cash within 90 days after attending the seminar, just by doing an equity sharing program. Tony, you wanted to answer the second part.
Well, just about negotiating, but you really handle it. There's no problem. Marilyn, when you're negotiating with the bank to get the low rates, Hal said it all. They don't want it back. So if you sit down with them, especially in today's marketplace, where the interest rates have gotten so much lower, you might want to go in there and see. They don't want to lose. They don't want to lose the loan either. You say, hey, fine. Either I'm going to take over the property and go refinance it somewhere else, and you're going to lose the loan, or lower the interest rates.
Thank you. Boy, you guys have really helped me out once again. I'll tell you, when we were at the seminar, I wish I could have bought everybody's tapes, but we got Danielle.
Great. That was a
good place to start.
That is a great start. And stop and say hello to me tomorrow night.
Okay, I sure will. Next time I can get some money together, your seminar and stuff and your books are next.
Well, great. Well, come on
Thanks
up.
for calling,
We'll see you
Marilyn.
tomorrow night.
Okay, thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Okay, to Terre Haute, Indiana, and to Wayne.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Wayne. What's your question for Tony?
My question is this. I've got a house that we're in process of getting in, and it's $200 down. And they're taking that in payments, too. And the appraised value of the house is $26,000. And what I'd like to know is how I can get some cash flow out of it real quick so I can start fixing it up.
Okay, what's it worth, Wayne?
$26,900.
And what are you buying it for, Wayne?
You want?
What are you buying it for?
For $11,000.
Okay, you're buying it for 11, and you say you can get it appraised at 26?
It is 26. It's appraised at 26.9 now.
Okay,
Okay, do you have credit?
No.
would you like Tony or I for a partner?
Well, that's the second choice. Let me
Yeah,
give you the
right.
first choice. First choice is does the seller have credit?
She's an old lady that's retired, and I doubt it. No, she assumed a loan from her kids. They try to get out from underneath it.
Okay, so now we're going to go to our second method. First, what you're going to do is I highly recommend you find an elephant, a partner, who will use his credit statement and will allow the two of you to walk into a bank and refinance that property. Because, are you going to move into it?
Yeah.
Well, then once you move into it, you can get at least 90% of $26,000. Not when you're buying it, but after you buy it, you're in it for 30 days. Because now you're going in to refinance a property you already own. And with a good, solid partner, an elephant, you might say to them, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 25% of the profits if we can use your credit statement. You be my co-partner. There's a lot of those people. As Hal said, would you like Hal or I to be your partner? For those kind of deals, you can find they're falling off the trees. Call your dentist. Call your doctor. Call your accountant. I mean, you use a doctor, just tell the dentist, hey, I can use your credit. I'll give you 25%. I'll give you $5,000 of the profits. You'd be surprised. They'll jump at it.
There's another thing about this house, too. It's on the National Archives, too.
Wow.
Now you sit down with that doctor or that dentist and you say to him, let me tell you what else we can do. We can fix it up, and for every dollar we put in, we're going to get a 25-cent credit, not a tax write-off, but a tax credit. And I can give it to you, Mr. Dentist, or I can give it to you, Mr. Doctor, and that really simply means that if he's paying $2,000 in taxes, if you put $8,000 into fixing it up, you're going to get a $2,000 tax credit. He just wipes out all his taxes.
Sounds good to me.
Wayne, you're on the right track, though. You're doing exactly what everybody talks about around here at night, and that is, first of all, you find it, right?
Right, here's the
Right.
4 F's.
That's right. You find it, you finance it, fix it, and flip it. Sometimes fixing it doesn't mean painting it. Sometimes fixing it means renting it up if it's a shopping center. Sometimes fixing it means you come in and fix the current problem. And in your case, it means finding the doctor.
That's the fix it.
That's the fix it part. Then the final part is flip it so that you both make a lot of money. Good luck to you. You're on the right track.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Okay, Hal, you got a page turned there. Is there something you want to go into?
Yeah, if everybody has a pencil out there, real quickly, the Marilyn called a few minutes ago,
Right.
and I didn't have the work. And in this album right here, we have a number of different contracts to use for this purpose. And here's what I want you to write in to the offer, Marilyn, if you'll write this down. All back interest payments totaling blank, you fill in whatever the number is, plus late charges, will be waived by the first lender before buyer will take over the loan.
Better read that again.
Okay, but it's real simple for you to use. All back interest payments totaling blank, whatever the number is, plus late charges will be waived by the first lender before buyer will take over the loan. And this is just one of 4 or 5 different steps. But when you have this kind of home study material, then you're able to move ahead and get it done. Okay.
Negotiating some point or another.
Oh, sure. Okay. Let's suppose that Hal wants to sell his Mercedes.
Okay.
All right. I want to buy a Mercedes. So there's really a desire there. Okay, but my question, Hal, what are you going to do with the money?
I'm going to invest it in real estate.
Okay, there's the first start. In other words, I didn't say how much do you want for it, because who knows? He's going to say, I want $1 million, whatever it is, but he doesn't really know what he wants. He doesn't want money. He wants something to do with that money. And the answer came right out. I want to invest in real estate. Well, Hal, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that's a good point, though. It's the benefit. I want the benefit of what the money will provide.
His
right?
problem is he wants to get some real estate because he wants to get started buying real estate.
But as a seller, I would keep saying, I need the cash and I want the cash. The reality of it is, that's just a tool that's going to permit me to get where I want to be.
You can't eat money, you can't smoke money, you can't drink money, you can't live in money, you can't drive money. There's absolutely anything you can do with money. It's a useless function. Matter of fact, it's just a piece of paper used for barter. So why don't we eliminate the paper? Why don't we take that and throw it away and give him what he really wants, which is, you want real estate, you said, right? In other words, you're going to get started in real estate. Is that right, Mr. Morris?
Yes, I'd like to buy some, you know, a few units.
Okay, now how much equity is in your Mercedes right now?
$25,000.
All right, supposing I could get you a piece of property with $25,000 worth of equity and gave you that in exchange for your Mercedes. Would that solve both problems?
That'd be a great deal. That's just what I'm looking for.
Okay, there's a very simple illustration.
It saves me the intermediate step.
Exactly. Find out what that person's problem. Are they moving? Are they being transferred? Do the children have to go to a different school district? Maybe they're getting thrown out in the street. Whatever the problem is, unless you ask, unless you find out what the problem is and get inside their head, you're not going to get anywhere.
And see, what Tony is not telling you is he bought that piece of property with no down, with $25,000 in equity, and the Mercedes isn't costing him anything, and I don't care.
Because you're getting what you want.
That's right.
I'm solving someone else's problem.
He and I never even fought over price.
And you're leveraging your property in order to buy his Mercedes. So that's the term leverage that you hear so often. Suppose that Hal had said, I want $25,000. I need to get 25 out of it. Take it from there so that people will understand if they get that barrier, how you twist it around to put it back in his lap.
What are you going to use it for?
What am I going to use it for?
If I gave you the $25,000, you're going to put it in the bank?
I'm going to put it in the bank until I find the right piece of property.
Again, you see, all I'm doing is keep asking questions. Now, the next thing you got to remember is you have to give up your ego and your pride of authorship. I mean, this is so
What do you mean by that?
All right. Well, if I'm arguing with Hal, I want to win.
Sure.
And I'm going to come out of this thing, I'm going to say, hey, I won. I'll give you what I want. You'll have to sell it. I don't do that. I want to lose. I want to let Hal win.
So he feels better.
Of course. If I let him win, I'm going to make my deal. So I don't need the ego trip. My ego trip is I'm going to get what I want. My pride of authorship means that I thought of it. I don't need that. Let him have the pride of authorship. Let me show you what I mean. He wants, let's say his bottom line that he really wants is $20,000 out of this. Right? He asked for 25, right? I'll say, you want how much do you want, Hal?
25.
I'll tell you what, I'll give you 15.
15? I couldn't do that. Could we split the difference?
How about it, what do you mean? How much you, no, let's not, that's too easy.
Okay, I was helping you out. I know how you
I know what you
wind
want. Ask me.
Okay, Hal, take it down.
Okay, let's make it 22.5.
22.5, how about 18?
No, that's not too much. I'm stuck at 22.5.
22.5, well, maybe I'll come up with 18.5. Come on, you got to come down a little bit more.
Now that he's nailed me once, I'm going to stay at 22.5. No. So your point is we go back and forth.
All right, I know I'm going to settle at 20,000. That's as high as I'm going to go. But I'm going to get him to finally say that 20,000.
Make it his idea.
So it becomes your idea.
So he can turn to me and say, you know what, I knew I couldn't get a quarter more than 18
But
for that car,
I beat Tony out.
I beat Tony and I got $20,000 for it.
Exactly.
That's what you want to accomplish.
So I'm going to let him have that pride of authorship right there. He's going to be the one that thought of $20,000, even though it's a number I want to give him.
And you get in the car and you think, I'm driving a Mercedes right now, and I got rid of that property that I couldn't
Now, let me
turn.
just show you something real quick, because let's get somebody on the phone, because I want them to play along this game with me.
Okay, let's get, hello, Luella?
Well,
Okay.
Luella, before I get to your question, I got a question for you.
Luella's from San Francisco, by the way.
Okay, you ready, Luella?
okay.
I'm going to ask you to add up some numbers with me. I want to show you how easy it is to control another person in the way they're thinking, all right? Are you ready for me?
Okay.
Now, I want everybody at home to do this also. All right, we have to do this quickly. I want you shout out the answer to me, Luella, all right?
Okay.
What's 1,000 plus 40?
1,040.
Plus 1,000?
240.
Plus 30?
2,070.
Plus 1,000?
3,070.
Plus 20?
3,090.
Plus 1,000?
4,090.
Plus 10?
5,000.
Okay. Now, Luella, we didn't set you up for that, did we?
No.
Let me show you this. Put it up on the screen if you would. If you add 4,090 plus 10, you don't get 5,000. You get 4,100. Isn't that true?
How do you do that?
4,090 plus 10 is 4,100.
Oh, that's right.
You said, now, you said 5,000. Don't feel bad, because everybody else at home said 5,000. I can guarantee you they did.
You're right. I did it on national television, and so did Regis Philbin.
He felt, that's right, and no matter who you, because your mind, I kept saying plus 1,000, plus 1,000, plus 1,000. I'm going to show you the significance of why you said what you did next hour. Stay with us.
Luella, we'll get your question, too, after we get to the top of the hour. Can you hold on that long?
Okay.
Okay, thanks very much. Stay with us. That was Luella in San Francisco. Tony, this first hour has flown by.
Wow.
And I want to remind people before we check out of here for this hour that operators are on duty. If you'd like to order Tony's Negotiator, here's Hal and Tony.
Welcome to the show, Luella. What is your question for Tony tonight?
Okay, my question is, Fannie Mae is having an auction, a very big auction. They're having an auction on Monday, November 25th and Tuesday, November 26th. My interest is buying a piece of property, but I have no cash, but they require a $3,000 registration. How can I get around that?
Okay. Well, I'm going to let the foreclosure expert, Hal Morris, is sitting right here. There's nobody better, so Hal, why don't you take that one?
Okay, Luella, my recommendation is that that is not a good place for you to start. The Fannie, here's the rule of thumb. The greater the degree of exposure, the less the odds are you're going to get a good deal. Did you see about this in the newspaper in a big full-page ad?
No, they sent, I called the Hudson and Marshall Incorporated, the auctioneers, and they sent me the pamphlet on it.
Okay, but how did you know this auction was going to take place?
Well, through the San Francisco Examiner Sunday paper.
There was an ad, right?
Right.
Okay, see, my point to you is that the greater the exposure, the more people that know that these properties are going to be auctioned off, the less the odds are you're going to get a real good deal on the property. So Tony earlier tonight talked about you want to buy from the seller with seller financing or VA or FHA existing loans. So I don't think that the Fannie Mae auctions are the best place for you to go. I think there are a number of other buys that you can go for. In terms of where do you get the cash, if in fact you need a partner, you want to get an elephant, you want to get an equity sharing partner, run an ad in the newspaper that says foreclosure bargain found, investor partner wanted, $3,000 cash needed. If you've got a specific property, I personally don't like the Fannie Mae type auctions just because I can't get a killer deal there.
Luella?
Yeah.
You just heard from the expert. And I mean, we're in the business to show you how to make money in real estate. And when he tells you not to go, take his word for it, don't go.
But Luella, let me tell you about an auction that is going to take place. Now, it's going to be for the people in South Carolina primarily. But, okay, Bob, I got to give it to you. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll be back to give you that information in just a minute, so don't go away. Also, remember, it's your show. I'll give you the phone number so you can get to us after we pause for this important message. Don't go away.
Things, and this hasn't been in any newspaper. See, I like the ones that everybody hasn't been advertising, and that's basically what I was telling her. If you see the big full-page ad in the newspaper and the Sunday paper for an auction, that's not the auction you want to attend because too many people know about it.
Do you get a regular service of notification?
Tony and I both are on the mailing list all over the country for all kinds of auctions.
And that's what Everybody's Money Matters is all about. We're going to keep the people informed on our bulletin board when these things come up so they can go to them.
Great idea, great idea.
We would have let them know before, but we just got this in the mail.
Just came in the mail.
How many people usually show up? Is it a pretty good crowd?
It all depends.
You get anywhere from 300 to 300, depending on what city you're in and how many people get a hold of it. Now, I would imagine we have just tripled the attendance tomorrow morning in Charlotte, South Carolina.
You have to take money with you, Hal?
No, you have time to bring the money.
Some
auctions you do.
You need 10% down, and you get.
But they'll take checks, so you don't have to show up with cash. That's what I meant.
Oh yeah, they'll take a check.
You don't have to come with cash. But some auctions, even for real estate, you don't have to have the cash with.
Will they take credit cards? Do you know, or
no?
You got to have the check or the cash.
Right.
Okay. Let's get back. We were talking about negotiations, and I know we want to get to some phone calls, but I want to cover some things that are very, very important about negotiations. You have to understand that if it looks too good, any deal you look, if it looks too good, it is. If that deal jumps out at you, it probably means that some seller wants to dump it, and you know you're going to get taken in these properties. You've got to work to buy these properties. You've got to be able to see things that other people don't see. You've got to be able to hear things that other people don't hear. You've got to listen to what they're saying. Not what they're really speaking, but what they really mean by it. You've got to look into the deals.
Well, in your new investor seminar, you have a checklist in there.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the most important parts of that course, isn't it?
Of course it is, but most important to the new investor, and that's what we're really talking about tonight, the person saying, I want to get started, you've got to learn to open up your mind. You've got to be able to see things. I'll give you an example. Here's another. We're going to show you a picture right now on the screen. I hope everybody look up at this picture. And I want you to tell me what you see in this picture.
Let's see, it looks like a...
Okay, yeah. What do you see in that picture?
Like an old map of Europe or something to me.
All right. Some people see Alaska in it, a map of Europe.
Yeah, it does. On the right corner, that's Alaska. In the right corner, the Hawaiian Islands, maybe?
All right. You want to know what it is?
Mm-hmm.
All you people at home had a chance to look? It's a cow. There's a cow in that picture. Now look at the way we've outlined it.
Oh, they are.
You see the face of the cow staring right at you?
Yeah, I do now.
Why couldn't you see it before?
The ears, the eyes, once you know it's a cow, it's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah,
well, I probably would have recognized...
There it is again without the lines. And now we'll bring it back up so you can see it again.
I would have recognized it if you'd had the other end.
The other what?
The other end of the cow.
The other end, I see. Mm-hmm. Anyway.
You got to put up with this every night.
Every night. I'm usually in that chair. Right. You see, what I'm trying to emphasize here is that people are going to have to look at these pictures and they're going to have to see the cows. They're going to have to be able to look at deals that don't look so good. And they're going to have to say, instead of the people say, oh, look at that piece of junk, I'm going to walk away from it. They're going to have to learn the difference between cosmetic surgery and brain surgery.
Well, what would be some cosmetic things that are simple to take care of, and what are some of the things on your checklist, like look out for this one, folks?
Well, one of the first things I always walk away, I always carry a marble in my pocket.
A marble? Oh, okay.
A little kid's marble.
And
right?
do what?
And when I get into the house, I put it on the floor in the kitchen. If it starts rolling, I walk out of the house and keep going.
Good.
That means there's foundation problems, and I don't want anything to do with that. Okay, so it's a very simple test that will chase you away right away. I look around at the ceilings to see if there's any stains in the ceiling. That means there's a roof leak. I don't want to get involved in that. Okay? Well, you want the cosmetics. If it needs paint job, great. If it needs windows fixing, great. Needs carpeting, great. Needs a new fence, great. Needs flowers and shrubs to make it look great, great. Those are cosmetic things. Maybe need some drywall. Got no problems with that. Those are cosmetic, simple things to do. New toilet seats. Now, anytime, though, you get into the brain surgery, you get into the electrical system, the heating system, the roof, just walk away. I got a simple philosophy. It looks too hard, quit.
Because there are too many good ones out there.
There's so many easy deals out there we can get if we only have this checklist and we know what to look for and we know and we can... But again, keep in mind, if that cow jumps out at you, it's probably got some horns on it, it's going to come chasing you. You got to look for the deals yourself. You've got to create them. You've got to work hard at them. Nothing in real estate is easy.
Is that the biggest mistake you would say that new investors make, and that is getting hung with those things because they don't see the cow?
Yeah, just because they can buy a piece of property for no money down doesn't mean that that's a good buy for them, because the payments may be too high, maybe in a bad neighborhood that's going downhill, and they're going to end up with a piece of property that isn't worth anything. You got to look at the whole overall picture, not just the fact that you can buy it for no money down.
We're going to be in Florida, as you know, the week of December the 3rd from Tuesday on, and that big weekend for the Hal and Tony Show. We're going to Florida by phone right now, and online is Clifford in Jacksonville.
Hello, Clifford. Welcome to the show. What's your question for Tony tonight?
Hello there. How y'all doing?
Well, we're doing great.
For a while, and it's a pretty good show from what I see.
Well, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
I was wondering, I'm unemployed right now, but my parents, they're in their 60s, and they own their own home. And I was wondering if I was just going to throw it up for debate here on how I should go about trying to pull some equity out and invest in some property.
Well, that's a good question. I'd probably use that as a method of no money down. I'd make my folks, my co-partners with me, and I wouldn't pull money out. I would create a note. You're in the state of Florida?
Yes.
Okay. You can create a second mortgage on that property very simply by writing a mortgage to yourself. You can create a note, and it's secured by a mortgage, a second mortgage in Florida, and then you take that note and you use that note as a down payment to buy other properties. You see, it's a very simple thing. Why go to the bank and borrow money at a high interest rate and pay that as a down payment when there are a lot of people that will take a note as a down payment and you can write it at 8% or 9% and not have to worry about paying the bank?
And then I go out and then find someone else that has a property and trade that note?
That note is your down payment to buy a piece of property.
Another question real quick. we have like our garage is sort of broken down. I was wondering if we could get a loan to sort of fix it up.
Well,
say government.
obviously,
like
there's a Title I loan that's certainly available for you for exactly that purpose.
You wouldn't have any problems then with the age or anything like that?
No. Title I loans, can be secured by your general credit, up to $2,500, and sometimes even up to $7,500, but let's say $2,500 to be safe. And so you can get a Title I loan secured by your general credit, and it's not even a lien on the property at that stage.
Oh, that's wonderful, because I was thinking about going ahead and and then fix it up myself, and then try to make some money off of it, and then invest in some more real estate.
There you go, Clifford. Hey, I hope you're going to come to Florida and visit us. Come up to Fort Lauderdale and visit us.
We're going to sure try. Like you're going to be in Gator country, and a bunch of Gators that you're meeting there. I'm going to try to make it if I can.
Now, we're going to be telling everybody about it in the next segment, so don't go away.
Good. Thank you.
Went out and was able to use
I got to tell you, that course was not developed because I thought of it. That course was developed because I was going around to clubs around the country, and for the same thing, I said, what's the biggest problem you have? And it's writing the contract. And I said, well, don't I explain it? They said, yeah, you talk about it in your course, but that's not like doing it. So that's when 2 hours away, because it really means you're exactly 2 hours away from your first offer, because I take you in 2 hours right through the course, line by line, right through the contract line by line by line by line. So 2 hours from now, you can write your first deal.
And you spent thousands of dollars getting your standard agreement.
That is a standard contract.
Oh, it's very standard. It must be standard. It says it right on the top. It says standard real estate agreement.
He said 51.
Any age you want.
Yeah. Quick trailer to my question. Tony, I know all too well your experience and opinion of dealing with banks. After 8 months of submitting equity loan applications, I've not been successful in pulling out about $65,000 on our personal residence.
Okay.
To start investing. I would like now to create minimal promissory notes on the property in order to begin investing. In Colorado, is there any rule or rule of thumb on how many notes or mortgages can be placed on my residence, and can I create these notes to obtain REOs or to deal with a lender prior to his pending foreclosures?
All right, let me answer that very quickly for you, Maggie. The only state you have to worry about on your own residence is the state of Texas. The other 49 states, including Colorado, you have no problem whatsoever. You can have a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh mortgage on your own home, or in your state of trust deed, actually, and you create the notes and you use those for down payments, and yes, you can negotiate with anybody on them.
Maggie, I know a gentleman in Colorado who had 51 different mortgages on his property. And the reason he had them there was a technique to use to stop foreclosure.
He was on the 10th, the 15th, and the 32nd,
No, what
right?
happens is that each note has 10 days.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
Okay? And so he was able to figure out.
510 days.
That's right. You got it.
Okay, we'll be back with Hal and Tony and just
Understand you because I come from Michigan, and, you know, so I understand that type of stuff. Okay, a contract, for those people who don't know, means that they don't have title to it. It's like a layaway plan. You make your payments, and when you make your last payment, they then give you the title to it. But if you don't make your payments, they don't have to foreclose because they don't have anything. They just take it back.
Right.
Okay? So it's great for the seller. It's bad for the buyer. But again, it's an easy way to get in with no money down by buying in a contract state. So there's no problem with it, but you can't borrow against it because the bank won't loan you anything because you don't have title. Right?
Now, and a double is a duplex.
Okay, a double means, right, double means that you're living in one and renting out the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how much equity do you have in it?
Pardon?
How much equity do you have in it?
About $14,000.
Okay, what is your credit now as compared to what it was when you took the contract out?
Probably just as well, maybe a little bit better.
Okay, why not go to the person who's holding the contract and say to them, now, how many years you got to go? Let me ask you this, Marsh.
7 more years.
Now, if I were to say I'm going to take the full 7 years, I'm going to pay you all the money. But if I were to pay you off right now, Mr. Contract Holder, wouldn't you take 60 cents on the dollar and take that money and go out and invest it somewhere? You'd be surprised how many times you're going to get a yes answer. So now, if he'll take a discount, you can now refinance with a real loan instead of the contract, pay him off, and that's going to give you so much more equity because you can refinance up to possibly 90% since you're living in it. That's going to give you the cash you need, and it's going to give you title to your property so that you don't have to worry about it being a contract anymore.
Marcia, that is so powerful. I hope you understood exactly what Tony was telling you, because that's a brilliant suggestion.
Yeah, it sounds good to me.
All right.
It'll work, too.
Good luck to you.
Remember, time is just as important as money, and that guy doesn't want to wait 7 years, a bird in the hand, give him this money, and show him. Write up a chart.
He's asked us if we wanted to get it refinanced so he can get out from under.
And ask him how much he'll take to do it. You see, if you take a chart and show him, what interest rate are you at, Marcia?
Pardon?
What interest rate are you at?
10.
10. Now, you show him what 10% is going to do for him between now and the next 7 years, and then ask him, if I gave you the money, what interest could you make? He can make 20, 30% on his money if he knows how to invest it. Look how much more he's going to make and how much you could discount it instead of having to settle for that simple little 10% he's going to get for the next 7 years.
That sounds good to me.
Go for it, Marcia. Then call us back. Tell us how well you did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's go to line 4, and Greg in Wisconsin.
Greg, welcome to the program. What's your question for Tony?
Hal, I guess this is more for you.
All right.
I have heard Tony say what he thought were the disadvantages of having a real estate license.
The old real estate argument. All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I would like to know what you feel are the advantages of having one.
How did you know, Greg? Let me ask you, how did you know I think it's a benefit to have the license?
I heard Tony say it when he said that he thought it was a disadvantage.
Right. Okay, I think that there are several different advantages. The first thing I do is I like to see the successful people, what is their background? Tony is a very, very successful real estate investor, and guess what he used to have? A real estate license.
I sure did.
In addition to that, there are some transactions where you'll go in to buy a property, and they're going to want a down payment. They are going to say, psychologically, they want a down payment. If you've got a real estate license out there, you can give them a 8%, 7% down payment and get most of it back yourself. In addition to that, in certain states, like in California, there is no usury law if a real estate broker is involved, so you can charge whatever interest you want. You can have 48%, 50%. There are certain transactions that you're not going to want to do yourself. There's certain transactions that you're going to want to go another direction with where you can't make any money on it yourself because you don't want it. It's not a good enough deal for you. You can flip it to somebody else. So I believe strongly in having a license one of several ways. And you don't have to have it in your own name, by the way. There's some ways that you can achieve the same thing. But I think you should either have a license yourself or have a partner who does have a real estate license.
Good suggestion, Greg. Hope you got all that.
Okay,
Now you got both sides, Greg.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Live audience, they said, let's see you make some no money down deals on the phone.
Blind, right out of
the LA Times classified section.
You have that on tape?
We have it right on tape.
This,
they filmed the whole show.
As the man says, this I gotta see.
It happened.
We're interviewing Mr. Tony Hoffman, one of the foremost real estate experts in the United States, and we are trying to buy some real estate, nothing down, over the phone. Tony, phone number is?
213.
654.
Right.
Okay.
We're supposed to hang up here.
Yeah, I'll hang up as soon as we hear a dial tone.
Hello?
John?
Yes.
All right, my friend Tony here wants to talk to you.
Hi, John?
Yes.
My name's Tony Hoffman, and I'm reading your ad in the newspaper.
Right.
And I'm on the box here because I've got someone with me, and he knows the area a lot better than I do, and maybe he can help. Okay, it says Tarzana quick sale, one-bedroom condo of $65,000 assume.
Right.
Owner will carry.
Right.
Is it worth $65,000?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, is there appraisal on it?
Yes.
Oh, great. Okay, then that's what I need to know about it. Tell me, why do you want to sell it?
It's a partnership.
And you want out?
Right.
Okay, it says owner will carry. What kind of terms can you make for me?
What do you want?
Well, I'd like no down. That's first of all. I know you got that.
Right.
Okay, what interest rate? We take 10% interest?
Yeah.
7 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good start, I'll tell you. How many of those you got?
5.
What will they rent for?
Oh, and the 450.
450 on the normal ratio. Are there a lot of them out there? How many are in the complex?
40.
Are a lot of them rented or mostly owner-occupied?
Almost all not.
Oh, most of them are rented?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. I like that. That's a great community because I'm interested. I might be interested in buying all 5 of them and doing what we call equity sharing. Are you familiar with that?
Not really.
'Cause that's where I'll split the deal with a tenant, and then I'll maybe get him to pay a little bit more so I can cover the $650 a month.
Yes, right, I have heard that.
Okay, well, I'll tell you, I'd like to come out and see those this afternoon.
Well, that was impressive. You bought with no money down, but you violated one of your rules, the negative cash flow. And you've got to get all 4 points, not 3.
That's right, I did, and in the anxiety of doing it in front of a live audience and on television and everything, I did forget. But they didn't let me get away with it. The audience actually caught me. The first question was, what about the negative? And look how I handled that one.
All right, here it is.
Tony, what I was wondering was that you offered him, it was priced at $65,000, and so therefore he said you could only rent it for $400 or $450. What about the negative cash flow?
I offered him 10%. That means I'm going to have probably payments of about, if I can get an interest only, which he sounds very amicable, I'll probably have payments about $550 a month. An interest only at 10%. I'm going to have a negative cash flow of about $100 a month if I were to buy it. Now, you know, if any of you have attended my seminars, I preach you never, ever, ever buy negative cash flow, and I mean that sincerely. I won't buy any. But what I will do is I will put an ad in the paper. I'm going to use my weasel clause from my contract. I'm going to tie up the property for 5 weeks, and then I'm going to put an ad in the paper to find a buyer. I find a partner with me, a tenant that will pay $550 a month. Now, there's a lot of people that will pay an extra $100 a month if they can be my partner and share in half of the profits and half of the interest write-off. John?
Yes.
Oh, you can hear me.
Yes.
One of the guys I was just talking to about going into the deal asked me a question. I thought I'd get it to you early, and maybe you can tell me. You know, at 10% interest, that would come out to about, $550 a month, and we would have a negative cash flow.
Right.
Could I give you the 10% interest, but take, like, say, 3 or 4% of that interest and put it on so I could add that on to the note and give it to you 7 years from now so I'd break even?
Why don't we work out some sort of scale?
Okay, so in other words, as the rent goes up each year, I could pay you a little bit more?
Right.
Okay, that's real fine. That really solidifies it. I'm going to give Ken a call right now.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye.
Great. Okay, give him a hand, because, see, that solved the problem that you were talking about.
That's an excerpt from Hal Morris's Money Money show and an excerpt from Tony Hoffman's show that he did with Art Linkletter, and I'm an excerpt here tonight on this program.
You're not really here. You're a clip.
Yeah, I'm a small clip.
You're a small
Did you ever see a baby doctor? Oh, yeah, about that big. Something like that. Now, Tony, you negotiated, and you said I might even buy all 5 of them. Did you indeed buy those that day?
No. Not at all. We turned them over to the audience. The audience was all taking notes there. As you saw that.
Which is exactly what's going to happen this weekend.
And the audience went out and bought all 5 of them.
Of course they would, but you mean at your big biggie this weekend,
we're going
right?
to turn over the things that Tony and I call about. We're going to turn over to the people in the audience.
Without obligation. If they want it, they can have it, in other words.
That's right.
Yeah, the audience went out and bought those 5 properties.
And the bottom line is, as far as I'm concerned, is more important than Tony doing it or my doing it, is for them to go out and dial the phones, and that's what we try to force people to do. Make the call, because it's a numbers game. You make enough calls, you're going to do it. Now, for Tony, it's unbelievable. He makes 1 call and gets them, just like that.
But, the thing about this now, you're going to be doing a commercial in a moment for Hal Morris's home study foreclosure course. But the nothing down over the phone bonus is worth the entire cost itself, because $100,000 mortgage, 30 years, 13%. Your monthly payment is going to be $1,106.20. Now look at that. That middle column shows how much is going to the principal. Only $22.90 is going to lower your $100,000 mortgage, and $1,083 is going toward your interest. The next month, gee, it jumps all the way up. You get 25 cents more going toward your mortgage payment. And that's what we've been taught to do. And that's what banks want to sell us. Well, let me tell you, if a bank wants us to take a 30-year mortgage, there's got to be some reason why we shouldn't want it. All right? Think about that. Now, let me show you how simple it is to save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to look at your mortgage just the way we're looking at this one right now. You get a chart just like this, and the bank will give it to you. They won't want to, but they will. And here's what I want you to do. Next month, when you make your payment, not only do you pay your $1,106.20, But I want you to add on one more principal payment. Just add on that extra $23.15 and say, please apply to my principal balance. Do you know what happens when you do that? When you pay the $1,106 payment and you pay the extra $2,315, you will never pay that $1,083.05 in interest. That just vanishes into thin air. You never pay it. Because now when you go to make your second monthly payment, you're really looking at the third one on the chart. This is the one you're going to be paying. But you know what I want you to do when you pay that $1,106? Sure. I want you to pay this extra principal payment, $23.65. Because you'll never pay that interest payment. And then when you go to make your third payment, you look at your chart, you're really going to be making payment number 5 on the chart. And along with it, pay the extra principal payment of payment number 6. And you'll never pay that interest payment. Does that sound like it's getting interesting? Because here's what's happening. I'm going to just accelerate it a little bit. See, I'm going to change it. Let me come back to the other chart and show you what I mean by accelerate it a little bit. I'm going to make it even simpler for you. When you pay your $1,160 the first month, I want you to really get done in a hurry. So what I want you to do is I want you to pay the next 5 interest payments all at once with your first month. And then when you make your second month, I want you to pay the next 5 interest payments. Let me show you how that works. If you make 5 extra principal payments along with your 1 monthly payment, it's real simple. Here's your $1,106 payment. Here's your next 5 principal payments that you just made. You paid months 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Only $118 total. You just saved, by making that one extra payment of $118, $5,400 in interest you will never ever pay the bank. Then with payment 2, you make another 5 principal payments. And you save $5,400. Do you know if you just did that for 1 year, at the end of 12 payments, the end of 1 year, you would pay $1,574. That's not a heck of a lot of extra money. I mean, if you're paying $1,100 a month on payments, an extra $1,500 a year is not a great deal of money. But you know what you saved? You saved $52,000 in interest, ladies and gentlemen, that you're never going to pay to your banker. Let's go one step further. Let's say you don't want to be bothered with all those pennies, those nickels, those dimes. What you want to do is you say, hey, I can afford an extra $100 a month in payments. Instead of paying $1,106, I'm going to pay $1,206. You know what would happen? You paid an extra $100 a month. Instead of 30 years to pay off your loan, you pay it off in 17 years, and you would have saved $142,420 in interest. Just by saying, here's an extra $100 every month, Mr. Banker, put it on my payment. Now let's go a different route. Let's say you're 36 years old. You want to retire at 50. Or you're 46, you want to retire at 60. Or you're 26, you want to retire at 30, 40. You picked out 14 years from now is when I retire. Ask your banker or your real estate agent to compute for you how much your monthly payments would be if you want to have your house paid in 14 years. In this case, it was very simple. 14 years, your monthly payments would have been $1,295 a month instead of $1,106. So that's a nice bite. I realize that's an extra hefty chunk every month, but what's it going to do for you? 14 years from now, you got your house paid off. And not only that, you saved $180,492 in interest you never paid Uncle Sam. You never paid to the banker. That's how simple it is if you know what you're doing, if you understand. Now, if you bought income property, And if you could generate a positive cash flow or a break-even cash flow, let's say you bought a fourplex for $100,000, and instead of $1,106, you paid $1,295. Do you realize if you got your tenants to cover that $1,295 a month, that 14 years from now, you would have a free and clear piece of property? Tell me that isn't a money machine to you for the rest of your life. Look at that income. Buy one of those a year for the next 15 years, ladies and gentlemen, and you'll retire a multi-millionaire with cash flow that you couldn't believe. If you plan your financing properly. That's the key. It all comes down, really, to being able to negotiate. And there are 4 things you have to negotiate when you buy a piece of property. Price, down, interest, and time. Price, down, interest, and time. For price, I think we all know that. We figured out earlier how we're going to have to figure out price. Down payment. Well, down payment, we want to put nothing down. That means nothing out of our pocket. It doesn't mean that the seller's not going to get nothing. We can use one of the many different methods to make sure he gets his money. Time, write this one down, 7 years. If you don't get 7 years, you have to walk away, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't get 7 years, on a balloon payment, never write a contract where you owe a lump sum of money to the seller in less than 7 years. Unless you're going to do that double close in a couple months. But I'm talking about if you get a balloon for 3, 4, 5 years from now, walk away from the deal. You need 7 years. There's a cycle in our economic system that could cause you to end up in foreclosure or bankruptcy if you get a deal for less than 7 years. So make sure 7. If you don't get it, walk away. Interest rate? Can you negotiate interest rate? Sure you can. Sellers will negotiate interest rate because they're more concerned with selling their property than they are in the interest rate. So you can negotiate interest rate with them. And then lastly, I must tell you, never, ever, ever, oh, by the way, if you don't win all 4, you have to walk away. We talked about that. But never, ever, ever use a standard contract. Never use the contract the Board of Realtors is given to you, the agent's given to you, or the seller's given to you. You always have to use your own contract. Because your own contract is a roadmap to their mind. You're not giving them a roadmap to your mind. You see, if you write a contract with their rules in it, with their deals in it, with their terms in it, you have to cross off the terms you don't want. Then they can see what you don't want, and they know what's good for them. But if you do like I do, and I use my own contract, and it says standard right across the top, it is, because I wrote it. And standard is only standard unto the author. And you need all of your clauses in it. You need to have the clauses that you like in it. Let them cross them off. Let them give back to you what they don't want. Now you can see what's good for them and what's bad for you, and you can cross it out and you can negotiate. Remember, you always want to use your standard contract. Now, what I'd like to do here, if I could, is just take a moment and tell you about my home study course. Because I think for all of you here in the audience, all of you people at home, you need to take a moment and think about your future and think about getting started. And the only thing that's preventing you from getting started tonight is knowledge. I've sort of helped you. I've given you some ideas. I've given you some no money down deals which you can go out and put together today with absolutely no other information. But if you want to get started fast, if you want to get moving in a manner in which you can become financially independent, if you don't want to go through all the hard work that I've gone through, then why not share with me all of the knowledge that I've gained, because I want to share it with you. And it's called my basic training in real estate investment. The total cost of my basic training in real estate investment